All right, let's switch to the lexicon audio. I see wiggle meters. I see wiggle meters now. Give me a thumbs up on the video if we have audio. I lost a sound card. All right, well, I lost one of the sound cards, which I had to replace at the last moment. I actually had one. And then all the cables were reversed. That's to say, you know, instead of XLRs, they were phono plugs. And so I got everything in and tested everything, but I neglected to think that the video device is going to be looking for the sound from the thing that is broken. So I think I've changed the sound to look for the thing that is not broken. All right, and thanks for the heads up on the no sound. Otherwise, I would have been doing my Charlie Chaplin here. And JC, thank you. The wiggle meters, I wish I could get a shot of the wiggle meters wiggling here. All right, we are doing the direct-to-net roll call. We've got a couple of you checked in early. Starting with 00, which is, who is Stan? Also SWL71. He will be checking in at some, wait, he's right there. Just not long ago, got both check-ins. We got SWL number 1, SWL number 2. I figured it out, but there's cables all over that you don't see, because I just had to find whatever length I had to get this other device patched in. And it appears to be working. 99, let's get an early check-in for Randy, now that I'm actually producing some audio on the device here. It gets difficult when you start adding pictures to radio. My recommendation is that you don't do that. Well, Randy, we'll see what happens when I get the HL2 up and running here. If I have even more difficulty, or if that makes things easier, I have no idea what will be happening when that shows up. Direct-to-net roll call is where we are at. I will try and get through this so we can get to some radios. I've got a proxy check-in for Mr. Lone Eagle, SWL3. How about SWL? I have no idea what happened on ORN tonight. I was just busy. I know they were out there. We'll check in a little bit later here. And I was busy trying to get sound going. SWL5 Levon is out there somewhere. I'll have to look through my list and see who is doing what. SWL7, hello, Mr. Ed. I'll proxy Ed in. He will probably be in later. SWL10, Chrissy is in. If I look for the Jumping Dolphins, they will probably show up momentarily. Could have some skip in from Idaho, Nevada, Washington, Oregon. I don't know tonight. We'll see what happens. I know they had a fairly quiet evening last night on the ditch banks, but you never know what'll happen here in 24 hours. I have a Milli Vanilli video that I did long ago. We won't talk about that. SW11 and SWL12. We've got Mr. Cornbread and Dapper Dan. Dan and Dapper Dan coming in and saying hello, radio tonight. Both checking into the Old Tube Radio Network, where we have lots of leftover Halloween goodies in the green room and various areas tonight. So when you check in to get in the air here, don't worry, you'll be well fed with sugar. Let's go to SWL 13. Yeah, 10 meters really great today. I was hearing 10 meter AM up to 20, 10, 30. W0 VMC beaconing in with a 20 over signal. Stations from Spain, Germany, Portugal. It was a pretty good day today on the higher frequencies. Let's go to SWL 13, somewhere in Sanger, over.
Yeah, SWL 14 checking in from Sanger. Hopefully you're hearing me good tonight, Dennis.
Yeah, I'm hearing you good. You have a big signal tonight, greater than usual. So maybe they cut down that tree somewhere.
No, I've got my Cobra Cam 88 hooked to a loudmouth tube amplifier tonight.
All right, a big signal, so not a problem, and we don't have much noise right now, so it's a good deal. It's sounding good. Got Sean checked in, and as he mentioned, we'll be having some tube radios from Sanger tonight. SWL 15 from Copenhagen. I don't even know who is on our listener. I know that Alpha 173 is there checking in with us tonight. The unknown SWL, Middleton, Ohio. Copenhagen, hello to you. Centerville, Virginia. Inez, Kentucky. That is the van man out in the van somewhere. Newcastle, Virginia. Belfast, Maine. Derby, New York. All those places. Sylvania, Ohio. Hello to Plymouth, Minnesota. Some stations in Fresno that maybe if you can't hear me, you can always tune into oldtuberadio.net and get the streamed version as well. So 15, let me see. Did I get 15 is in SWL. There's a radio test. SWL 16. Hello to Charlie. Joining us, and thanks for the help on running the cables. You can see them kind of stretched behind and going to this other audio device. I have no idea. The other one, all the lights were on, but nothing. The lights were on, but nobody was home. So luckily I had this spare one that actually seems to work. Well, I'll save the results for later to see if it actually does work. SWL 17. SWL 18. Got a check-in from Mr. KDA from the Facebook side. And here with the cue cards, this is, Chet, this is one of those nights that I may go off the cue cards a lot tonight if things don't work out. So follow, what they used to say, they used to tell me when I would run the prompter for the TV guys, it says, follow along. Just follow me. And at some point, I'll be on the same page that you're at. So Chet does a good job of following me all over the place, trying to figure out what I'm supposed to be doing. Let's go to SWL 20. And I've got a proxy check-in for Harvey, who could be... Harvey, are you one of those unknown SWLs tonight? So I can't tell when you have the paper bag over your head. Who's going to be out and about. We will get you checked in. All right, I'm going to on the fly without actually looking at what I need to do. Are you guys still on? Sundance. Special show for Sundance tonight. All right. Well, that's a good deal. Is it still... Are you guys still on? Let me see. It doesn't look like the audio is playing here. I'm going to turn up the sound. This is the playback one. I see this is for 11.4. All right. So this is from a while ago on the Gemtronics, 2300.
All right, well, I've got to go in the house. I'll be right back.
And he's telling people he's leaving the air forever. So.
I'm muffled up there, Chad.
All right, here's what was going on ORN tonight. Right. The beautiful Gemtronics GTX 2300. The Nixie clock. The on the air. The unit lights and all as well.
Yeah, it had to warm up there, and I cut the mic gain back down a little bit too.
All right, see, that's the mark of a real professional that knows how to get things up and running. Unlike us here at the Old Tube Radio Network. Thank you, JT. We've got you checked in. Hope you got a lot of check-ins tonight from up there in the Wasama Swamps. Back to my list. SWL 22. Tyler checked in last week from Alaska on the Echolink. The Echolink link is up. It looks like it is. SWL-23. 23 Skidoo is out there. I'm getting him checked in from various Facebook sites and things like that. He may pop in a little bit later if he polishes up the dish, the satellite dish. SWL-24 checked in moments ago. SWL-25. Did I shrink? I look like I'm lower. I'm lower in the chair tonight for some reason. Maybe another thing is breaking. SWL-25. Shortwave listener 27. SWL-28 in beautiful Sacramento. Or is it Reno? No, it's Sacramento. That's where he's at.
Break OTR.
And the break OTR. Hello, Tony, over.
Yeah, Dennis, can I get an early check in, please?
You can get an early check, and hey, your radio is sounding really good tonight.
All right, thank you very much for the early check in. Have a great night. Don't forget to set your clock back, everybody.
Thank you for the reminder. And it is that good set back where we fall back and we gain, if you can use it, we gain an hour of time to do whatever it is that we are doing. Thank you, Tony. Gary is there, SWL-8 checking in. He's having a double cola with some good and plenty. Is that the what's the stuff you put? No, it's the Pez Fizzies. There's something you can put in, or no, it's Mentos. You put Mentos in your carbonated soda and you get kind of a foam out there. So I don't think Good and Plenty, do they even make that? You know, I never liked Good and Plenty because it was licorice. It was kind of licorice flavor. It looks really good. It was very deceiving. You think, oh, that's great. You bite into the little candy, and then it's like, well, what is that? There's licorice in there. Who did that? All right, but anyway, I know I know you like it, Gary, and it goes well with the double cola. We have to put out the SWL-28 recipe for what you should be snacking on as you're participating in the Old Tube Radio Network. And double cola and Good and Plenty are one of them. Who was the Good and Plenty guy? Was it Charlie Choo-Choo? Something. There was, remember Good and Plenty? I remember that. That's why I'm wondering if they're still making that. All right, 28 is checked in. SWL-29, we've got Loner checked in. SWL-30. Hello, Dwayne. Sitting next to the Browning and the Robin, waiting for some conditions. SWL-31. SWL-32. My slow computer tonight. SWL-33. Do we have a honk of the proverbial Choo-Choo Charlie? Thank you. That's what I thought. Thanks, Felix. The proverbial proboscis here at SWL-33. And there was even a song. I would find that song and play it, were it not to be for some copyright thing that would happen, and then it would get erased from the video. SWL-34. You know, that's why I love our jingle singers and Espresso Trucking Company, because they are specific to the Old Tube Radio Network, and we don't have to worry about copyright violations. Did I see Mr. Fiedler in there? Not yet. All right, he will be by shortly, I'm sure. SWL-35, who stopped by not too long ago from Cowboy Country, Cheyenne, Wyoming. Mr. Bill, are you on the two-way? Are you on the amateur two-way? I'd like to find you some time on one of those frequencies, maybe 10 meters. It should be easy to do. And no doubt, when we get some conditions, we'll be hearing Radio Monkey Communications and Mr. Bill just wafting in here on Channel 11. SWL-36. SWL-37. I will get a proxy check-in for Chris. He will probably be in the air chair shortly. Going north and heading towards the ocean. SWL-38 in beautiful Byron. See if Sam is checking in tonight. Update a few things here. SWL 39. SWL 40, 785 is checking in from the caverns of downtown Fresno. Did you see the plan they're doing for your area? You're going to be living in Hollywood. You're in Disneyland down there pretty soon when they start building all that stuff or whatever they're planning to do. All those units. I don't know. We'll see if they actually do something like that. You may have to update. You may get kicked out of the basement. Yeah, Sam, well, we will see. I was listening just in case. So Sam is in. 40 is in. SWL 41. And I need to, you know what? I need to check my list on the video, see if we've got some early check-ins, which I'm sure we do. I'll do that right now. Palm Springs is in. They're having some type of mid-century modern, which they often do, a little tour. I don't know. Who's the guy? Charles Phoenix, running around there in his 59 Plymouth with the fins. That's sort of like us. All right, SWL 57, Brown Dog Audio needs an early check-in, so I'll do that. Get some of the early check-ins right now while I was trying to make my audio work. Have to put in little cards. Chad was already writing up little things like a silent movie for me to hold in front of the screen. Well, I'm glad we didn't have to do that. And there is Levon. I see SWL 5. I got you checked in. Red Fox 1, hello to you. Radio Man 260. Craig will be coming up to you. Just seeing who else is. What's the word we used to say? Lurking about tonight. Private Thor. Squamish is standing by. I know we'll try. Let me see if I got the satellite link. I've got an okay for the link. I don't have a confirmation that it is working, but it's showing up. I'm trying to think just so you guys know. It is showing up on the screen. Yes, it is. Okay, good. It's showing up on the screen, so we'll try that a little bit later. You usually get a pretty decent link up for you guys. UDX 183, hello radio. Uncle Hairball, I'm just seeing who's listening in tonight. Oh, 102. You know, John, I will get you checked in. He is beaconing from what we used to call him the salt mine. Out from the salt mines tonight, so if you aren't quite there, 102, I've got you in right now. That way I won't forget. Anybody else? Steve, thank you for the sound. I finally got it. Jay-Z's in there. All right, I think we're doing it. Back to the roll call. There's Road Dog 507. I think that's where I left off. We've got some radios coming by tonight, so stay tuned for that. Set your alarm. Set your alarm for like 10 minutes.
KB6GFD, W6KEG.
All right, we've got a crossband. Let's see if we can't get a crossband check in. I recognize that voice, hello radio, from KB6GFD.
Just realized I'm on low power, but anyway, if you can hear me, check me in, Dennis. I fired everything up, but man, I couldn't hear you out here. And I guess there's a neighborhood party out here with a DJ playing Gloria Gaynor disco music. My favorite. Anyway, thanks for the check-in, Dennis.
All right, thanks for stopping by. You sound great on the crossband. I've got you and 74 checked in, and go boogie until the clocks turn back. Thanks for checking in. KB6GFD.
Roger. W6KED.
Here we go. That is, who is that? That's 25 and 74 checking in. How many parties are going? How many of you are at your own Gloria Gaynor party right now? Raise your hand. All right, I know I didn't know that was a thing, but I guess it still is. Road Dog 507 is in 41. Let me make sure that gets officially on the chart here. Over to SWL 42. SWL 43. Shortwave listener 44. Probably not hearing me tonight. Ray was sounding really good on the Ditch Banks last night, as usual, in his great position, giving us some relays for the other stations that can't make it in net control. So, Ray, if you are listening, Mr. 360, we've got you checked here tonight on the Old Tube Radio Network. Over to SWL 45. And I'll get you guys checked in. Paula Kelly, if you're listening, hope you're all doing okay. Enjoy the program tonight. We should have some good radios coming up. SWL 46. Shortwave listener 47.
Good evening. We are from the Radio Lounge. This is hopefully in two different forms of modulation. This is SWL 47.
All right, well, I'm getting you on the FM. I didn't, if there was AM involved, I didn't hear that, but I do hear you on the FM side, and you are sounding good, and I'm putting an X, as we say, an X in the square over.
Oh, good. Well, consider that an official broken Robin T123.
Oh, no. All right, well, got you checked in, and we'll find out more about that. The Robin has fallen out of the nest, but we'll see if we can't get it on the mend. Thanks for checking in tonight. Over.
Thank you, sir. 73 from the Radio Lounge. This is
Kilowatt Bravo 6, Germany, fans. Okay, now all those wires are draping over my key. That's not good. The crossband seems to be popular tonight. I'm glad I actually got that up and running. SWL 48. SWL 49. I will get a check-in for Smitty and Sweet Country Mama. Okay, Brian, got you in there. Let's go to SWL 50. SWL 51.
SWL 51, checking in, and you can hear me.
I can hear you all the way from the median of Academy Avenue, or wherever you might be. You're sounding good. Over.
Tempo, Dennis. Have a good evening.
All right, now you're sounding good. I want to take a look at the REA meter, see if I need to pump up the audio at all. Maybe. Radio testing. No, it's okay. I think the peaks are good. Got some asymmetrical modulation. The lights are blinking. Wiggle meters. All that good stuff on your Old Tube Radio Network. 51 is in. I think I heard this gentleman on the crossband when I was in the midst of changing cables behind the rack space here. SWL 52.
There we go. So to help if I would route my audio in the correct direction. Good evening, Dennis, and all the SWLs out there. SWL 52 behind the golden microphone, as long as the golden microphone is actually being routed to the radio.
It is. I was going to say, I hope that audio problem hasn't floated around here in Fresno. You know, you've solved yours much quicker than I solved mine, and I hear you just fine. Over.
Yeah, unfortunately, I had the window up on my screen, and I just had to hit the button. I was doing FT8 earlier on 10 meters, and that requires me to reroute my audio to the radio.
This 21st century stuff, it's not as simple as it used to be with the spark gap. You are sounding good. I got you checked in.
Thank you, sir.
All right, and I think I heard you earlier on the other two-way. I did. All right.
Yep.
I love these instant confirmations. It's like,
yeah, we can duplex.
It's like speaking in your ear. This is the way they talk in the big TV stations. All right.
K6USY.
All right. Thanks for everything.
Hello. Am I getting out?
I'm trying to talk on the mouse. I should keep the microphone. KB6GFD.
You got a copy of me, Dennis?
All right, so we're back to the radio item, and I do hear Christopher. Over.
I would like to check in.
This is the I would like to check in frequency. I'm glad you stopped by. Over.
No, so I had a chance to get in here real quick.
All right, I believe I proxied you in because I was pretty confident that you would be stopping by at some point before the 6L6 tube ceased to glow, and so in doing so, I've awarded you the check-in here.
All right, thank you, Dennis.
And thank you for sounding good. Directed at net roll call. We are on page 2, working our way to the end of page 4, at which time those glorious tube radios might be parading across our net tonight. I was going to button the jacket, but the buttons are falling off. They really are. And there's one that's already fallen off. Did you guys find it? I know we were all kind of looking on the floor for my button. I'm going to say, I don't know how I'm going to replace that. I'd like to get a button for a seersucker suit. It's got to match, 1962 stuff. I have no idea. Let's go, where are we at? 52 is in, 53, Mr. Belair checked in early. SWL 54, board jammer checked in. SWL 55.
Checking in, Dennis.
All right, you knew I would finally get to you. It was worth the wait. The X is in the square. Over.
Thank you.
Man, and sometimes it's like, I think I can. It's just counting. It's just counting numbers. How hard could that be? Let's go to SWL 56.
I was waiting too.
Waiting. How many trains passed by before I actually got to you?
Actually, one just passed.
Okay. I always enjoy when I hit the right road down there, when I'm on, is it with Sean? Because I can see the train coming. And I'm thinking, if I go down Shields, which I could do, if I go down Shields, I'm going to enjoy watching the train for 5 minutes. But if I make the left turn, I go under the less than safe, what do they call it, a subway crossing underneath where there's these giant potholes and people that you have to avoid hitting with your car and water and also, and you go under that, and you go under the train, and it's a glorious thing. So anyway, you are sounding good, sir, and I've got you checked in. It's always fun to watch it, to go underneath the train. I think I enjoy it more than stopping and watching it go by. It's like, thumb your nose, and it's like, there you go. We each get to go. Let's go to SWL 57. And that is Mr. Brown Dog Audio. I haven't been checked in, so I must have checked him in early, or somebody checked him in. Oh, we've got Skipland coming in or something. SWL 58. SWL 59. Uncle Haribo is there. X in the square for 59, checking in. United Delta X-ray 786, and amongst other things that he is called on the CB radio. But these are the two that I know of anyway. So let me put the X in the square. SWL 60, over. All right, one of the big rivals, Boise. I remember they'd get the caravans and drive out to Boise. I've got a friend that lives in the town next to it. And so I hope, go Dogs, I hope we can take Boise, and then I'll be able to send him a little message saying, yeah. All right, thanks, Joe. I've got you checked in. SWL 61 Dino. Mr. Copenhagen checked in early when the band was good. It's still good. Got him checked in. Boat Anchor CB radio repair says I need Red Monkey to work on my Robin 520D. Bill checked in tonight from Cheyenne, from Cowboy Country. So I don't know where he's parking the mobile Red Monkey communications van, or caravan as it were, but hopefully he will hear you or see you, or you guys will get connected. Because a lot of the radios that you hear or will hear on the Old Tube Radio Network tonight are because when Bill and the gang were here in the Central Valley keeping the radios, keeping all the radios, but keeping the tube radios going as well. So we appreciate all the stuff that Mr. Bill has done to keep our stations, our tube radio operators on the air. Let's go to SWL 62. SWL 63. Am I getting ahead of myself? No, okay, we're good. We're still on the roll call. SWL 64. And I'm checking in Craig out there in Nine Land. He was on the screen earlier, so I saw him there. So see what's happening in Wisconsin tonight. Wisconsin was late night, 40 meters when the band opens up. It's always got a good hop there. All right, Big Rich 6520. Thanks for jumping in tonight. I know you're busy and a lot of stuff is going on, so I always appreciate when people will take a moment to stop by and say hello to the Old Tube Radio Network group, wherever we might be. Over to SWL 65.
Can you proxy Eric, please?
I can proxy Eric with the stroke of my official Old Tube Radio almost out of ink pen, but there's enough to put the proxy in. Thanks.
Thank you.
SWL 66. SWL, oh wait, there's Butterbean. Why did I've got a not an X. North Georgia is definitely there. Sorry, sir. Let me make it official, 63. All right, there we go. For some reason, there was no X in your position. SWL 66. You know, there's a crew that reviews all these paperwork, and I'll get marked down. I'll get a red letter F of the day if I don't. Somebody calls back and says, "Hey, I was there. How come you didn't check me in?" And they have tapes, so I could just say, "Oh yeah, I checked him in." But now we have tapes. They do the playback, and it's like, what were you doing? The guy was there. You didn't check him in. So I have to be. Not only do I have to wear a suit and a tie, I have to be very good at what I do. And I'm failing at one of those. All right, SWL 67, Bill in Canby, Oregon. We got you checked in. I don't know if the internet is working tonight, but if you watch the replay, you will notice that I did check you in. SWL 68. Shortwave listener 69. Hello, Kenny. If you are around, I've got you checked in. Over. SWL 70. SWL 71 Stan and 00, the 2-for-1 check in. I'm not sure. I think there's a big contest coming up next week. Another sideband thing going on. I don't know what was on this week. I might have heard somebody. It wasn't like a couple of weeks ago, but there's something brewing. I know. Brought the fish food. That's right. I was going to hang up. Do I have it here? I think I took it away. I didn't want to get destroyed. The feed the fish. All right, it'll be here. I'm going to do some control room decorating with the "Don't forget to feed the fish" flag, as it were. SWL 72. SWL 73. Got a check-in moments ago over the crossband for SWL 74. Shortwave listener 76 out there, Red Fox 1. Were you there? I thought I saw somebody. Bring my screen up. You see who's joined us. Oh, there it is. Okay. In the mobile. In the mobile. How did he do that? That's pretty tricky. Checking in from the mobile tonight. All right, 76, you are officially in. Were you to see the video? I hope you're not watching the video while you're driving. But anyway, there's audio. And were you to see the video, you would notice that there is right above my head there, the SWL 76 checked in. Let's go to SWL 77. Got a proxy in for 1017. SWL 78. What's happening, Wildemar? All right, back after the game. I hear you, Albert. Yeah, maybe, like I said, late before we sign off tonight, we'll bring up the link and see if we can't get some AM transmissions off of 2705. Were the link to be working? I think it is. SWL 79. SWL 80. The big red limo, busy this week, getting the kids to and from the Halloween festivities. They had a big group there was a couple of gatherings and parties. We got a lot of people out to that, and that was a good time. And it was like, just don't throw the candy wrappers on the floor. You're okay. Even if you did, you're still okay. Let's go to page 4, SWL 81. Got a proxy in for 81, SWL 82. And I don't know, Ron might be watching the game. Also coming up, we'll talk about it, the next week, next Saturday, coming up a week from today, is the Fresno Amateur Radio Club annual, I guess they call it the swap meet or the little fest, and I think I was informed that there's going to be a lot of estate sale items. I don't know what's there, but it sounds like there's going to be, what do we say? What do we say on television? Plenty from which to choose. Were you to actually go there and want to spend some money? Let's go to, I've got you checked in, Ron, if you're listening. SWL 83, JZ, waiting for the X in the square out of Sylvania, Ohio. Thanks for the heads up earlier about the audio malfeasance. We've got SWL 84, SWL 86, shortwave listener 87, and shortwave listener 88, respectively, and in that order, and at the same time, all checked in. From Clovis Town and beyond, thank you, Cheerios Kid, Mountain Maid, Tandy Girl, and the Snowy Owl, over to SWL 90. And the guy who's shaken a couple of, get the thing to get, shaken a couple of good and plenty packages in his day. Probably some Cracker Jack. You know what they still make Cracker Jack. I think it only costs $1.50. But the little prize inside is still worth nothing. But and they have Cracker Jill. Everybody seen, they've got Cracker Jack, and now we have Cracker Jill as well. SWL 91, thank you, Felix, for checking in. And as always, he's saying hello to all the shortwave listeners and old tube radio operators yet to stop by. SWL 92. Shortwave listener 93. Where are we going? Beautiful Orlando, I do believe, SWL 95. Okay, I think that's Skipland. 95, 96, Mr. Prune Picker. If you can hear me, Dennis, I've got you checked in. Conditions aren't too bad right now, Mr. Prune Picker out of the Kerman area. SWL 97. I just ready to mark in 97, and there you are on the screen. Jim is listening in, waiting for the radios to fire up tonight. He's got the spark gap generator up to snuff. And all the neighbors are wondering, what is that noise? I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen a working or been around a working spark gap transmitter. I'm sure there's probably, if I were to Google it on YouTube, somebody's got a spark gap transmitter. Sometimes I think my signal comes in like spark gap. All right, Jim, we've got you checked in. SWL 98. Tracy, I saw you earlier on the stream here, so we've got an X in the square for you. Thanks for stopping by. All right, 502. Thanks for jumping in on a long day, so I will not keep you because there's probably all those things that you were supposed to do or that nobody else did that are still waiting for you that you can get done, and then maybe you can sit back and relax with what would I do after a long day? With a piece of toast and some Ovaltine. Something simple. So that way if you fall asleep, it won't be a bad thing. SWL 99, Radio Randy in moments ago. And it is time, were I to have the right connectors and my hands free, to jump in on the Echolink link and check in with Tony and see what is going on. KB6GFD. To jump in on the Echolink link and check in with Tony and see what is going on. KB6GFD.
Dennis, please check in SWL 100 KD4BAO.
All right.
Dennis, please check in SWL 100.
We got just a replay. All right, there we go. Got you checked in. Echolink is working. I know we got a little double audio, but your audio is fine. I hear you just perfectly, so no problem. 100 is checked in, and we are waiting those tubes on the air. Thanks for stopping by, KB6GFD. Did you like my little lip sync there? All right, there we go. Got you checked in. Echolink is working. I know we got a little double audio, but your audio is fine. I hear you just perfectly, so no problem. 100 is checked in, and we are waiting those tubes I like
on
these
the air.
technical
Thanks for stopping by.
difficulties. Let's go to SWL 102. SWL 102, John is checking. Who's got the X already for me? Officially checking in. Taking his technician test Tuesday. Hey, don't know if I can pass. Oh, you can pass. Yeah, you might as well. I can't remember. Do you have to? I think once you pay, I could be wrong about this, but in the old days, once you paid to get in, you could just keep taking the test. So it's like you paid your money, you might as well try, and you never know. I mean, if you go from 0 to general, right now, boy, the bands are just so good. But tech is a good thing. You got the VHF and the real estate at 28.3 to 28.500, which often gets busy, is actually quite active with some good communications going on. So let us know, won't you? And let's see, what are you in? Arkansas. Are you in 0? I don't have my poster. Are you in 4 land? 0 land? You're either 4 or 0, I think. I could be wrong about that, but it'll look good. Oh yeah, and now you have to pay the FCC $35. Oh, that's right. I forgot, when I renewed my license, it was like, what? $35 to be a beacon of public service? You know, they're going to get their money any way they can. So, well, it'll be $35 well spent, and that will last you 10 years. So think of it this way: when you pay all your money, your $35 and your other fee, It's just pennies a QSO. So it's not that bad. The old Tube Radio Network. We are getting close to the Tube Radios. Let's go to SWL 109.
Good evening, Dennis. Crawdad 109 checking in.
109 near the big town up in Auberry. Looking good tonight. And thanks for stopping by the old Tube Radio Network.
Thank you, Dennis.
Crawdad beaconing across the valley floor. Let's go to SWL 110. Shortwave listener 111. Robert checked in earlier when we had all this noise and skip, but he's over at oldtuberadio.net, so I'll get you checked in, Robert. SWL 113. Let's see if Wayne is around the microphonium tonight. SWL 114.
114 checking in.
Rickshaw sounding loud and clear as always. You are checked in. Over.
Thank you for the check-in, Dennis.
And Chrissy, thank you. Yeah, I saw that little note that he was on his way home, listening in somehow or doing something. So we will make sure that 102, that John is checked in. Rickshaw is checked in. Let's go to SWL 128 out near Fairfax, Virginia. Yeah, Aaron, I think he's not too far away. He's 60 over on sideband, right, and 40 over on the AM. I'm going to get a proxy check-in for John 128. Let's go over to SWL 131. The popcorn. That's what we need in here. It's a popcorn machine. SWL 133. Actually, I have popcorn, but I cannot do popcorn while I am on the air. It's not compatible with keying up the microphone and doing stuff, even though I would love to do that. All right, nothing here from 133. SWL 135.
SWL 135 checking in.
135 checking in and sounding good. Sounding very good doing it with a portent of things to come. Shortwave listener 137. Sounds like we have an open microphone somewhere. That's weird. SWL 147. I'm sorry, 145. Neil checked in. I'm sorry. Let's take two. SWL 145. Tony checked in early. SWL 147 from Fayetteville, North Carolina. I guess that's coming over the receiver. We'll get Neil checked in from Kakalaki. I wonder what the conditions were like if he was on today. That's a new noise for sure. Let's go to shortwave listener 188. And Foxman asking you, we have the party hat. It's right here, out of view. It doesn't fit over the headphoniums. It was not really a party hat. It is the boy, I got a big head now. It is the official. This hat is at least 30 years old. This is when we had the picnics way long time ago. I think it was Lesson D. Somebody, or maybe it was Fred. Somebody came up with these hats. It's an auto cap made in Thailand, but good enough to wear every Saturday on your old Tube Radio Network. So there it is. That's the party hat, and it's still hanging around, and my head is still big enough to fit into it. Let's go to SWL 195.
195, checking in, Dennis.
All right. I don't know what that strange noise coming over the airwaves is, but I hear you just fine, Jim, up there. As they say, don't forget to set the clocks back. And thanks for joining us on the Old Tube Radio Network.
Thank you much, Dennis. We'll definitely change it tonight.
All right. And James still has his hat. Let's for those of us that were at the picnics, the Old Tube Radio hat, these are pretty rare. I don't know how many of these floated around. But somehow I managed to get one. And I managed, like everything else I have, not like everything else I have, is to not lose it. I think that's the big plus. Let's go to, let's see, Jim has checked in SWL 226. Tracy, Martian interference. Be careful what might be lurking in the back here on the, out the window. 226? And any other check-ins here before I jump out and come back and we start the tube radios?
49er.
49er, all right. You know, we had got you proxy, you and Sweet Country Mama checked in, but it is good to hear you live and direct on the radiophonium. Go ahead.
Well, we do appreciate that, and it has been a while, as you know. Glad to be back in here, checking into the O2 radio. Hope you, Dennis, as well as everybody else out there, is having a great evening and doing well. We appreciate the check-in, and like always, thank you.
All right, good signal. A nice audio night, sounding good into Midtown Fresno. Thanks for stopping by the Saturday night place to be. Over. With that said, I'm going to jump out, do all the things I need to do to get the tube radios ready, and I will return, and we will be speaking with our tube radio operators. I'm not sure what kind of radios we have tonight, but I know there are a couple out there that have already warmed up and are waiting to go. Stand by for your Tube Radio Network extravaganza back in a minute. Ready or not, you are listening to the Old Tube Radio Network.
You may not find us on your TV, because in case you did not know, we're being brought to you by
OTR.
Brought to you by
27.085 megahertz.
Brought to you by RADI.
The Old Tube Radio Network.
All right, thank you, Billy May, the orchestra, Stan Freberg, X4000, and an audience of tens, or maybe tens of thousands, the Old Tube Radio Network, here to do what we do best, and that is listen for your tube radio check-ins. We've been doing it since 1986 on this channel right here, channel 11, 27085, with an addition somewhere in the 21st century of oldtuberadio.net, where you can listen to the audio stream live or the replay or the video, which is happening right now. And we hope to have some good shots and good pictures of the radios checking in tonight. I'm officially signing in on the tube radio sheet for November 4th, 2023. It always makes it nice when I find these 10 years later and think, well, when was this from? There's a date on it. That's very good. All right, without any further ado, OTR is standing by to listening.
14, 135, 135.
Can I get a radio check? Radio check? Anybody out there? Radio check.
All right, we'll do things in reverse order. The radio check. You are 9 pounds and good modulation here at, well, not really Chestnut and Herndon, but here on the Old Tube Radio Network. If you would like a good radio check, you could go online with your Universal Media Net Web to oldtuberadio.net. Look for the glowing tube, and you will hear all the stuff that's going on. So thanks for joining us. Before I unkey, I want to say radio number 2 will get you in, Cliff, for radio number 2. So head into the green room. We'll be right with you. But stepping up into the air chair right now, the last one of the last check-ins here for daylight savings time of 2023. The Old Tube Radio Network from beautiful Sanger Town. Hello, Sean, over.
Yeah, howdy, Dennis. SWL 14 checking in tonight on my Cobra Cam 88, and I'm also running a tube amplifier, so I'm running all tubes tonight for the first time.
Wait, sounds good. You get the nice tube amplifiers, and you get a good input. You know, sometimes the amplifiers will make 10 times whatever you got. So if it's 10 times bad, well, that's not a good thing. But you have 10 times good going on. Signal is good. I will put in the, if you watch the replay, I'll put up the S meter at some point to see what you're doing. But you're good. If I could find the right video here, there we go. You are doing a good signal from Sanger tonight. We have good conditions. Give us a transmission on the Cobra. Sounds very nice over.
Yeah, thank you. It's the Cobra Cam 88 B&K with the original B&K hand microphone, and it has the modulation light with the Dynaboost. And like I said, tonight we're running all tubes, and the radio puts out about 2 watts dead key and swings to about 5 to 7 watts.
The FCC decreed, 5-watt DC input, so typically that would mean you were at a 3.5, maybe 4, maybe 2 on the output, and then it was left to the manufacturers to figure out, you know, to do with some push-pull audio or something that would help out to get that, you know, less than 5-watt carrier out into the open, out into the radio airwaves. And the B&K Cobra with their Cam 88, Cam 98 did a very good job of that. If you're watching anybody watching the video up at oldtuberadio.net, the picture we are showing is of a Cobra Cam 88. There's 2 versions. There was the mod light was on both of them, and the Dynaboost was on some specific models. So it's nice that you got one with the Dynaboost. Sounds like you got everything adjusted well. The audio is is loud, it's got good fidelity, and no flat topping or any of the malfeasance that one might consider possible if you were doing something wrong. Over.
Yeah, I think it sounds pretty good, and I had to watch a lot of videos on how to tune a tube amplifier, so I think I've got that right, and everything seems to be pretty happy. I heard myself check in. I was really excited to hear my check-in earlier, and I really think it sounds pretty good. I'm really happy to have all this stuff and have it working properly.
All right, sorry, I pressed the wrong button there. I was trying to do a zero beat on your audio. You are right on frequency. When I went to sideband at 27085, I did not have to touch the controls at all, and the audio was good. That's how you can tell you have got good 100% modulation or more, is when I switch over to sideband and the audio signal doesn't drop all that much. Good signal, yeah, and the tube amps, depending on what they are, it's tune and load, and then depending on the class, if you back the load off a little bit, and you can hear it sometimes. You can monitor on a separate receiver or something. You'll hear the audio clean up as you as it back off on the load control just a little bit to give some headroom. So like that sounds like you've done everything correctly. Over.
Luckily, it came with some extra 6L6 or some other tube, so if I made a mistake, I would be able to possibly fix it back. But luckily, thankfully, we've got Harvey, and this Cobra Cam 88 is just a great radio. I really love this radio, and thanks to Harvey, it has a good swing and sounds really good.
Yes, it does. Good audio, and that'll help you pull through this skip. And where the day to come that I actually put an antenna up in the air where it's supposed to be, you will be up in the something dB over S9 for sure. Radio number one, a good way to start it off, the Cobra Cam 88 to tube radios driving, I think, what does JT call it? And the more correct pronunciation, the reverse preamp. The FCC likes those better. The tube reverse preamp, keeping the audio clean, and you've got it set up again for Radio 1. Back to you for transmission, and it sounds good. You've got a reason to be excited.
Yeah, thank you for the flowers, Dennis. And my son's actually playing chess on the cell phone, so I'm really looking forward to going back and listening to how the radio sounds. And appreciate the time tonight, and everybody out there have a great weekend.
Indeed, and I hope to have in some upcoming episodes a little more eye flash on the frequency and the band scopes and things like that, because a lot of times on the tube radios, especially if you've got a reverse preamp, it's a good way to take a look at the waterfall, the scope. You can kind of tell if things are tuned up correctly, because you'll see some IMD products if it's not, if you're overdriving. Sometimes you think it sounds good, but when you look at it, it's like, we could do better. But you're doing good. Radio number one, the Cobra, B&K Cobra Cam 88, sounding good from the tubes. Heading over to, let's go to the next radio before we do the jingle singers, because you never know. Sometimes that extra 20 seconds could be not good. Hello, 135. Hello, Cliff. Over.
That's going to work one of these days. Okay, this is SWL 135 on a radio from Laconia, New Hampshire. This is the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB, but we're in the AM mode. Back to you.
Has AM double? Well, you're in the double sideband mode, but you've inserted a carrier there. All right. Well, this is good. The picture that I've probably shown the most in the many episodes of the old Tube Radio Network, I would say this picture, I hope it's going to come up right, that I'm about to show is right there, and it's got, for some reason, it got a wrong name on it. Something happened. I didn't do that, but I'll put it full screen. This, I think, might be the actual radio, the picture of the radio that we are listening to. Over.
Yeah. If it is, it's stacked up on top of each other and all that, so I could, push in closer with the camera and try to get a cleaner shot. I do not operate it that way. It is currently I have the transmitter on the right and the receiver on the left. Let's see, there are, I think, if I remember correctly, 21 tubes, all 23 channels, and the mic I'm using is not as pictured. I'm using the original banana type Browning microphone, which is I've also, if I remember correctly, made by Electro Voice. It doesn't say that on the mic, it says BL, but I think Electro Voice made all these for Browning. I do have the Golden D104 on the side here. It was going to depend on how much the skip was coming in. When I first brought this out here today, the skip was 40 over, just pegging the needle, and I thought I better use a stronger mic. But since it went away, how's this one doing? This is, like I say, just the unamplified banana type microphone.
It's doing great. It has the sound that we kind of expect from a Browning. Lots of mids and lots of highs. Not a lot of low frequencies, but you can't get low frequencies out of Browning unless you do some trickery. So nice and punchy. Good choice for any time, right? Rag Chew or DX, or trying to break through the. There's 40 other stations keying up at the same time. Pile up. This is indeed the photo of the radios stacked on top for the aspect ratio, and it's showing the, you were correct, showing the Golden Eagle microphone. But the supplied microphone, I can't remember if Harvey, he told me this one time, when you bought the radio, if it came with a microphone, if it came with that banana-style microphone, if that was an extra thing that they had you purchase. But it's doing a good job. Take a transmission. I'll do a frequency check here coming up.
Oh, well, it looks like I'm a teensy bit high. I can correct that if we really need to. I'm showing 0851 plus or almost 0852. But that's close enough for just. I can change that, as you well know. Yeah, this has the reverse on-the-air light, which I love. I love the on-the-air lights on these things. And mine's backwards to most of them. Mine has the black background and the red glowy letters. So did you get me tuned in?
I got you tuned in, and you are very close to being running. When I go to 27085.1, I start getting the carrier. I start getting the zero beat, or the non-zero beat, I should say. So you are very, even closer than you think to 27085, over.
It's a lot more fun to do with this kind of microphone. Whenever I whip the D104 around like that, I get scared the head's going to snap off. But this one's really... incidentally, I'm pretty sure these came with the banana mics. I think those were provided right along with them. I don't think it was an extra. But there could have been different, iterations of that too. Evidently, like most of the other Browning radios, they put out a few different versions of the Mark IIIs, and again, some of them were a little different from others. So maybe there was like a save a few dollars model where it didn't come with the microphone. I'm not sure. I never saw one brand new in the box. Back to you.
Nor did I. It was a long time before I even got in front of one, or got to somebody's station that actually had one down in the Southern California area, because they were very expensive radios. Obviously, as a high school student, I wasn't going to be keying up a Browning anytime soon on my desk next to my homework assignment. But later on, you can do those things. They're still around, built like a tank, or a Volkswagen VW or a Ford Falcon. I don't know. It's built like something that sounds good. Someone mentioned, the separate transmitter receiver. Very interesting that Browning kept that going, especially since Citizen Band was supposed to be, something for non-technical. Keep it simple. Like you proved a couple of weeks or last week with the Hallicrafter CB1A, you can't get more simple than that. There's the push-to-talk thing. The microphone is there. It's one channel and one knob. And then you've got something like this, and even Browning, their early radios were transmitters and receivers. Very, very similar to what you would be expecting in the early 60s when you were running a Drake or a Swan, or some of the Kenwood twins, or your Hallicrafters, or is pairing up a Johnson with Hammerland receiver, separate stuff with the Dow key. At least they built all that in. And the question was, does anybody ever operate split? I think it was unintentional. I remember a lot of times somebody would get a new Browning back in the day, and you would hear them key up, break channel, and you would go back and they wouldn't come back to you. And break channel, and they'd key up and wouldn't go back to you. And you realized that their receiver was on some other frequency, some other channel. They've forgotten to match the two radios together. So if you were good and they were close, you'd go to each channel and quickly key up if you knew the station's handle and say, hey, check your receiver. And then you would finally find them, or they would finally get the idea that no one was really ignoring them. They just, you weren't being heard because you didn't have the transmitter and receiver on the same frequency. So there is, where is the spot button on that? It's below the transmitter, the little VFO dial, right?
The VFO knob. It's a little button directly below the VFO knob. That'll help line up your transmit and receive. Just to the right of the mic plug, jack, whatever. It says spot. C spot run. What happens if I push it when I transmit? Not a thing. Okay, and that's probably for the best. But we used to do that for fun. Like talk on one channel and listen on the other channel, just because you can do that, and it's kind of fun. We're working splits, as it were. It can just be an awful lot of fun. But yeah, there's a button to help you line all that up if you need to, because it's a VFO receiver, and crystal controlled, channel rock-bound, as we used to say, transmitter. So yeah, it's nice to just be able to slide around everywhere with the receiver. Back to you.
It is, and I'm not even sure that were you to do that, it was some, the FCC had a lot of strange, wonky rules for CB stations, and I don't ever recall one that said you couldn't work split. I'm thinking as long as you were using your license and you didn't split between the standard, intrastation and interstation call channels, or call, and I don't think the retransmitter, by 73 they kind of abandoned that, or 72 when this radio came out. You were able to do that. The other, and one more thing before we go, that I still don't know how Browning got away with, was putting a VFO on the transmitter. Everything was crystal controlled, as per the FCC, as per that radio. But they managed to actually put, and I guess it's type accepted, a VFO, and it's more of a, I don't even know what you would call it. It's probably got a name. Does it say VFO on it? But it's a selector that allows you to shift your crystal by a certain amount of hertz. And I think they made it so that it would only go 700 hertz either way, or 700 hertz spread, which is what the FCC said. If you've got a crystal, we are going to ask that you be within 700 hertz of that center frequency. Otherwise, we will officially say you are off frequency and we can fine you. So somehow Browning managed to get that VFO in there and calibrate it so that you couldn't, if you turned it all the way to the left or all the way to the right and it was calibrated correctly, you wouldn't be more than 700 hertz or 700 cycles off. Pretty keen, pretty ingenious. Over.
I always thought so. It's not really, like a big-time VFO, is it? It's almost more of a transmit delta tune. because, like you say, it only goes 700 hertz each way. So that's, it's not like the VFO on the receiver, where you can literally slide across all the channels. So, as I understand, what it was really for was like, when you're on sideband, and let's say you're just the teensiest bit off, or maybe your crystal is the teensiest bit off, you can correct that and bring yourself to right on frequency. And I always thought it was a great feature of these radios, and I'm trying to think. I can't think of any other radios that did that. Can you?
No, and that's why I'm thinking. No, you're exactly correct. It's for sideband, and you actually need it, especially if you're talking to more than one person. You're in a round table, and everybody's not, especially if you're crystal controlled on sideband. That's like the goofiest thing, because nobody's going to be on the same frequency. Everybody's going to be off a little bit. Doesn't matter when you're on AM. Sideband, it's a big difference. So a 700 spread will pretty much get you in the game. And even the later transistor radios that came out that had a clarifier that only worked on receive. So probably somewhere in a rule, I bet the FCC was really PO'd, if you will, at Browning for doing that. And they probably said, sorry, we're not allowing this on the newer transistorized sets. If you put on a VFO, it's a VFO for receive only, and you are crystal controlled. Even though, as we know, everybody went in and there was a way to unlock them. So that's what I'm thinking. They probably had to be locked to get FCC type acceptance after Browning was able to thumb their nose at the FCC and say, yeah, we're still on frequency. What do you think?
Yeah, I still think it was a really cool idea. It's what a lot of people, I think, do to this day is, like they'll unlock the clarifier, lock the clarifier. I can't remember which it is, but allowing you to at least get your sideband signal like right on frequency where everybody else is at. Because as you know, they almost all these radios, even the newer ones, will deviate a bit here or there, and I think it's a good idea to be able to get on frequency. And you know what I mean? It's not like you're sliding all over the entire band, so you can go in between channels. It's more just of a tightening up of your actual center frequency signal. Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. And we here at the Old Tube Radio Network agree with the FCC. It is not a good idea to deviate, or at least not too much, within the certain prescribed deviation field. Radio number 2, the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB. As Cliff mentioned, there was an AM version that had the smaller transmitter, but still worked on all 40 or all 23 channels. Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. The receiver on that does go up to 40 channels, right? It has a selector. Let's see, what does this say here? It doesn't say selector. It just shows CB, HF, and Xtal. Right now I'm in the CB mode, which is the 23 channels. So you use the top scale on the receiver VFO wheel, the wheel of channels. But then, you switch to HF, and what it does is it gives you everything from, 22B or 22A or whatever it is, all the way up past 40. Because evidently they were getting ready for the expansion of the band or something like that. I really don't know the details on that. Oh, and the crystal, of course, is you can put in a single crystal for your favorite receive channel. Guess which one is mine? Back to you. Probably the same one as mine. We'll have to talk with Jimmy, if Jimmy Fiedler comes on, or if he's got any info from the, Gar Green, from Mr. Green and Browning, if they did that. Because the radio came out in 1972, and the switchover didn't happen until 1976. So I'm just wondering if early models, if you have a 1972 version, if it wouldn't do that, or they just guessed, let's just add the frequencies there. They knew that people were sort of channelizing themselves up the band, which they were by that time with VFOs and things. And obviously, it's not illegal to do anything on your receiver. It's not transmitting, so you can make it go to any frequency you want. But again, another very smart move by Browning here on the Mark III. The original price of these, probably if you're in 1972, you might get them for under $700 when you walked into the radio shop. When they stopped making them at the end of 1976 because they had to make the 40-channel Mark IV radio, and there were some other issues going on with the Browning and all the American manufacturers by that time. The price was well above $700, I'm sure. It sounds good. Take another transmission. Thanks for, and again, I praise the picture that I have used forever and ever of this very radio that's on right now. It's a great shot. It shows everything, and it works well for anybody doing the Mark III SSB, especially when it's yours. Go ahead.
Oh, that one worked out well. I have the short version too. Before I sign off, let me do the short version and then I'll sign off, okay?
All right, this is the short version frequency. Stand by. Here, go ahead.
Yep, that's short, all right. I forgot to throw the switch in the back. I got 2 sets of capacitors back there. As many of us do, thanks to Harvey and other people who like to do this. That way I don't have to have the annoyingly long ping every time. I'm sorry about that. I was having so much fun with the pings, I went ahead and stuck with the long one. But there's the short version. And thank you very much for letting me check it in. And we'll catch you next week.
Yeah, sounds good. I think the banana mic makes the ping a little less shrill. I'm listening on headphones. I know sometimes you could really tune them in with your microphone that you're using, especially the D104s, to be a little bit more shrill, a little bit more sharp. There's ways to adjust the squelch to make it less or not at all, I suppose. And then, like people did, you could change the capacitor. And I was just reading somewhere, and I wish I had it right now, but I don't, that Mr. Green was saying the FCC did give them a little bit of grief about the ping on the radio. But again, they were able to, they must have known somebody at the FCC. They were able to kind of keep that and not have it, as you know, FCC say, we're not type accepting your radio unless you get rid of that noise. They never did that. So good stuff. Thanks for checking in. We're going to head over to the Jingle Singers, and then we'll be listening for some more radios. Thanks. That was their cue to start jingling.
How do you do, ladies and gentlemen? Greetings to you, wherever you are. For music and the latest news from home and from afar, the station for you is
OTR, Old Tube Radio.
The station for you is
OTR.
The station for you, OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network, heard most Saturdays right here on channel 1127-085, also at oldtuberadio.net, and somewhere there's a video going on. We're listening for radio number 3.
109.
109, hello, radio over. Take a transmission.
I am checking in the Dak Mark 9 radio telephone.
The Dak Mark 9. Okay, I hope we have a picture of that in the database here. I remember seeing those in a very high caliber magazine. Yeah, okay, a very cool, fancy radio. This is like the DeLorean. Let me pull the picture up here. And for those in the know, if you actually open the radio up, there's a lot of space in there. It's like, well, where's the inside? So Dak was pretty smart to take, I don't know, what might have been a standard radio, but they dressed it up so cool with the meters and the rack handles. It did a little bit of hybriding on the transmitter receiver, and you just can't not like the looks of this radio. Take a transmission over.
It only really half qualifies it as a tube transmit and transistor receive.
Yeah, it's. I think it was similar when the Browning Mark IV came out. There was some hybriding going on. The other ones, like the FT-101s, which were a tube transmitter and receiver. So what we're hearing is, I believe, the tube part, the transmitter part. I'm going to get a close-up on the meters. Lots of meters and switches. I think they probably counted the number of switches and meters on a Mark III and said, we can do better than that. So they got SWR, they've got an RF output, modulation, and signal strength. I'm curious, does the modulation, do all those work at the same time? So when you're transmitting, let's see, your signal strength, so you'd have an output power, possibly SWR, and the modulation would be blinking to you?
They all work at the same time, yes.
All right, well, I guess that would make sense if you're going to put them all up at the same time. Otherwise, you'd have a switch to go between the meters. And they said, why do that? We're gonna have so much real estate, it won't be a problem at all. The Mark IX is a 40-channel radio, and it says it M.H. Scott Company Incorporated. So I wonder if that's the same company that did the stereos. M.H. Scott Incorporated. There was a Scott stereo company, so maybe they decided. And it does have the look of a very sort of the modernistic 1970s stereo gear. Maybe that's what they put all the meters on it. It's doing a good job. I hope it can hear me okay.
All right, can you hear you just fine, Dennis? Thank you.
All right, on our list for Radio 3, let me go back here, and I'm going to have you take another transmission because I'm curious on a DAC how good the frequency stability is. So take another transmission. We'll do the 0 beat here. Over.
I think I have some of the people that are farther out there that are not pretty good, but I still hear you just fine through it.
All right, 84,800, so it's about 200 cycles low, but it sounds good, and it's doing a good job. Very impressive looking radio, and that was able to be sold it was a Sharper Image catalog. I was trying to think of Sharper Image. Always selling this fancy stuff. Used to have the Dak Mark IX radio as a thing you could buy through their catalog. I wonder how many people did that. Thanks for Radio 3. It's sounding good.
Thank you, Dennis.
And I really expect as the weather changes, we get a little bit cooler, and we go into November and December, that we should be getting the late fall, the fall-winter E-skip coming in from the northwest. So we'll be listening for that. Jingle Singers are ready to go once again. You are listening to the Old Tube Radio Network.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you. Wherever you are, your favorite spot on the dial by far is known to you as
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
the station for you is
OTR.
The Old Tube Radio Network. We are standing by listening for radio number 4. And a note, I'm going to add the Delta M2 microphone with that. The properly adjusted Delta M2 microphone sounded good. So is the Bulldog game over? Are they playing in Boise or are they playing here?
They're playing here. It's 17-27 Bulldogs.
Okay. Well, I don't know if I'm close enough to hear if they'll have any incendiary devices should they win.
And it's the fourth quarter just started, so still got a little bit of time.
Let's see, a little housekeeping here. Hello to, who's it? Ontario CB Club. Haven't heard from you guys in a while. Thanks for joining us. 9 Oscar Charlie. Saying hello to everyone. Liberty Lake, Washington, San Diego. Coming in up through the balcony here of the Old Tube Radio Network. Thanks for listening in. Don't have any of the short E-skip. San Diego, we might be able to hear you guys were we to have that. And we are standing by listening for radio number 4. And there's a Facebook page, Browning Golden Eagle CB is the name of it, and Mark Stone has an interesting way of saving or keeping the old 50-year-old the plastic knobs, or I don't think they're Bakelite, but how to take them off, sort of fill the back with epoxy to help keep the thing together without getting it in the into the shaft, and then put them back on, and it keeps them from cracking. I guess it sort of provides a little, like a glue. The epoxy will hold everything together so you don't get a split in the knobs. So pretty ingenious for those very old knobs. And Dwayne notices you need you got to have a big desk for those old radios. I remember, I think I started out with a card table, and what you do is you start building up. You build little shelves and you go up. And at some point, the card table will either collapse or, like Dwayne says, you just got to get a bigger table. Yeah, maybe it got close. And Harvey is away. If somebody asked about Harvey, he's away from the air chair tonight. I believe he is probably listening in, and possibly might be checking in with us on the crossband or live if he gets in on time.
Well, I modified my buddy stick to work on 40 meters, and QRP was able to talk to somebody in San Diego.
What band was that?
On 40. but I was only running 10 watts from the backyard.
That's not bad. 40 is kind of an amazing band. It's great for mobile communications. It seems, especially up and down the state and the West Coast, it's pretty reliable. But as you know, it changes as the day wears on. So it'll be short, it'll be long and short. It'll be specific to a place. I really hate it when you're hearing none of the conversations because you're in, especially here in Fresno, you're in between San Diego and Northern California. The band is long, and then the band goes short, and you're the guy. You're like the loud guy to everybody.
Oh yeah, no, it's a weird band. I definitely need to get an antenna up for it on the house, but making progress on my portable setup.
Don't discount the good old, if you've got enough space, if you can elevate it, and you don't have to elevate it much, there's 66 feet of wire for the standard resonant connected to a piece of coax 40-meter dipole. And the NVIS properties of a low antenna can sometimes amaze you, especially in the early evening when the band starts going long, and those 500-mile hops, 800-mile hops up to Oregon, Washington, Utah, at 100 watts on the low antenna work really well.
Oh yeah. Well, when I had the buddy stick in the backyard, the counterpoise was only like 5 feet off my lawn, so it's just going straight up.
What do they say? Radiating equally poorly in all directions. The Old Tube Radio Network, Jingle Singers are at the ribbon microphoniums, and we will be back in a few moments.
You're listening in the latest style at
27.085 megahertz.
your dial. That's
Channel 11, Old Tube Radio,
in wonderful.
Fresno, California.
All right, the Jingle Singers get extra pay tonight as they've done what they are supposed to do, and that is promote the use, distribute information about the Old Tube Radio Network, and get somebody to key up the radio. 14, hello, over.
Yeah, I'd like to check in my Browning Golden Eagle Mark IV on a amplified Silver Eagle D104 microphone.
Okay, and that's a nice radio to follow up the DAC. I don't know if you could buy both of those at the same time, if the DAC came out a little bit later, or how long, how many years they kept producing the Mark IV. But sort of the same ilk. Nice big radio, although, like I said, the Browning, inside the Browning, I think is a little bit more radio than the DAC, but they both look impressive. Good signal. I didn't look at the meter, but I'm thinking maybe the reverse preamp is working on this one as well, over.
Yeah, that's a question. Do I need to tune it each time separately for each different radio?
Well, in theory, you don't change the output. You don't change the antenna, but the input. And since it's tubes, it's got a little bit more leeway. You could have it's always, sometimes it needs a tuner between the radio and the amp. However, being on the Browning, I'm just looking back here to check. Being on the Browning, and the Browning being tubes, it might not be as critical. Sometime on a transistor radio, it is really critical. If you put an SWR meter between the radio and the reverse preamp, and you look like, wow, we got an actual bad match or mismatch between the radio and the amp. And once that happens, it's very hard to do anything that makes it sound good. So I think you're good to go, and it would be easy to touch up. Wouldn't take much, because you're going to be, all your controls should probably be very close anyway. But I'm going to say, if you didn't, you probably wouldn't have a problem, especially with the Browning. It is making a great trip. The Mark IV, differences in the Mark III. I believe the receiver, and depending on the version you have there, and you can help me out with it, the receiver still has the analog VFO agile tuning knob, but I think they changed the transmitter to, what, an LED or an LCD display over?
Yeah, I have a LED light that goes up and down, and I have the capabilities to slow it down to a snail's pace or a rabbit's pace to flick between the channels.
Okay, that's right. You mentioned that. I don't know if that was a request by somebody that says, it would be cool if you did that, or maybe on the prototypes, sort of like, well, in the heat of battle, you turn that knob and you've gone flying by where you want to be. So hard to say, but it's another little feature that you can have on the radio. I've got a shot of a Mark IV. They had a great brochure. One of those colorful brochures. Okay, here is, I'm going to try something. I'm going to swap over to, while I'm on the air. Okay, there's one that's actually running from, this is from Mad Max. You can see the display up in the screen for the channel selector. They did keep the Browning, the Flying Eagle on the speaker, it looks like. And you might still be able to buy those, whatever, is it Barkit or something that has pieces and parts, the knobs and the Eagle and all that good stuff. So what's the other thing that Greg S9 Radio talks about is, and I'm not sure if it applies fully to the Mark IV, but especially the Mark III, is rolling the audio tubes, especially on the 12AX7s, to get the proper audio out of them. I had a question. There is, what is the display that's on the transmitter, the opposite side of the S meter? There is some display. It's dark in this picture. What is that for? Over.
Yeah, that indicates that you're on the air, very bright and large when I key down, and it also indicates you're on AM, lower sideband, or upper sideband on your transmitter.
Okay, so a new display on the air light and mode select. So it's really interesting. They've still got the cool 1960s, late 50s look, but they've incorporated just a few. I don't know if they did it well, but they've incorporated a few of the modern devices on there. I wonder if it was cheaper to do that, or if they were planning on kind of sneaking everybody into the Mark V that was going to be all solid state and would look totally different. But they didn't quite make it that far. Anyway, take a transmission. I'll put up the S meter. We'll see where you are on here if we want to compare it to the Cobra, and also take a frequency check on your next transmission. Over. Yeah, sounds good. I was looking at the S meter. It's not moving a lot. So I'm not sure if you just don't have a lot. It sounds like you do. A lot of audio coming out of the radio. Sometimes that can be indicative of the preamp, the reverse preamp, as we say, being a little overloaded, where it's got too much resting carrier. So I would say don't be afraid of adjusting the load control to bring the unmodulated carrier down a little bit to give it some headroom, especially on a Browning. a Cobra, especially on a tube radio that's probably got a good lot of forward swing, and the amplifier will take it. I'm not hearing anything bad, but it just I was surprised when I looked at the meter. It's just sort of quivering at S7. It's not moving up to S8. Not a problem, but that could be a slight tweak on the amp. Over.
Yeah, this radio doesn't seem to have a lot of swing when I check it when it's running barefooted. It kind of puts out like 3 watts and the needle doesn't move too much, but the Cam 88, boy, it really has an impressive swing on the needle.
Okay, and that's, it's whatever you put in, you're going to get out. So that could be the radio is pushed to get a little bit more carrier out of it, and that's okay too. Again, I don't see it running backwards or doing any bad stuff on the audio. We have radio number, did I write it down? I've been talking so much. Yes, radio number 4, the Browning Golden Eagle Mark IV, and you put it appropriately, the last hurrah for Browning as, what is it? They closed the doors. They actually had an auction. That's what I was reading. I couldn't find that article. They had an auction of whatever they had left, the radios, and there was a caveat saying, well, we can't really guarantee these radios because they had a very good pre-testing burn-in on a lot of the radios, and they were saying, well, whatever you're getting here, it's off the shelf. We can't guarantee that it's up to our standards because we're not checking it out. But that was actually pretty sad to see them do that, especially as big as the company was. But that is the way things went back in the day for a lot of the USA manufacturers that had a tough time keeping the price point from the imports coming in. Yeah, take another transmission. Thanks for bringing it by. All right, it sort of generates itself. I think I could just, go away and it would still happen. So I'm not doing too much. The radio operators are the ones that I'm always amazed that you take the time and the money and the space and whatever time you need to sneak away, if you do, from whatever's happening for a few moments on a Saturday evening to jump in. And our shortwave listeners, our viewers, definitely appreciate that. So thanks for Radio 4. Someone asked me a question, I think. Ontario CB Club, 9 Oscar Charlie, are you running a power mic and you talk 4 feet away? Well, you know what I have? I wouldn't call it a power mic, although the way I'm running it, it gets, let me turn off all the garbage here, it gets amplified. It's a condenser microphone. It's a very small diaphragm condenser. It's not anything to write home about. And it requires phantom power supply from a microphone preamp, which I'm providing with this unit up here. So it's a 48-volt phantom power supply. So it gets power that way, but it's not amplified until it goes into the mic preamp where I can do amplification that way. So it has a very big range. I mean, I can kind of push it away, and because I'm doing amplification, and it's a super cardioid, so I got to make sure I stay on the beam. I can get behind here. It's not going to sound too good. I'm right up on the mic, but notice I'm off the beam, and I just move to the front, and it works. It works okay. Let me see. I'm going to bring up, without breaking anything, the microphone preamp, and I'll go to the input, or I'll go to the output. Well, see, I'm compressing, so I'll go to the input. It's at 37 dB, so I can crank the mic gain. Now, there it is. There's the room noise. Some people run their microphones like this. You just hear when I stop talking, you hear the fans and everything else. But notice I've got compressors and limiters that kind of bring my voice down. But it's not the best way to do it. So the best thing to do, especially with your microphone, is find the mic gain that works for you, for your room noise. And then it's always recommended to be close to the microphone. Turn things down. What a difference. You would think that this room was quiet. It is not. It's a veritable treasure trove of noise. All right, anyway, the good question, and sorry I took so much time to explain it. The Old Tube Radio Network will be counting and amounting soon. Oh, you know what I want to do? I'm going to fire up. Give me a moment here to do that. Fire up the Squamish link. I haven't. They said they were going to be out doing something, so I haven't got a report from them that they might be out and about. But the link is up, so we'll put it up on 27085 while we are counting and mounting here. And if they are somewhere around the radio, we should hear them up in their area. Let me make sure I've got some audio from the. There it is, nice and quiet up there. We'll keep it down and we'll have it in the background. The Old Tube Radio Network. And was it the jingle singers that have often been heard to say?
What are the magic numbers?
27.085 megahertz, channel 11.
Are the magic letters?
OTR.
Right here in
Fresno, California.
Radio Magic.
Old Tube Radio.
For you.
Counting and amounting. All right, back to the item here. What's the pin this week? You know, I don't even have the pocket protector. I think we were debating on what to do with the jacket here because the buttons were falling off, and I had taken it sort of apart, and it needs to be relined. So maybe we'll send it to a tailor shop, and after they stop laughing, maybe they can spiff it up a bit. But we'll see. So the pocket, I don't even know where the pocket protector is. It got the week off. I feel so debonair and unnerdy and out of my element. All right, I'm going to go ahead and crank it down here. I don't hear the anything out of the Squamish boys here. It's very quiet up there. There's nobody on channel 11 at all. GWD says I'm slipping. I know. It's been one of those days. I know I'm going to hear about it from the OTR front office. Jingle singers, or please play the announcements so I can do what I need to do here. Not that one.
OTR. Channel 11.
Right here in
Fresno, California.
Stay with us.
Old Tube Radio.
Okay, I think what I need is this one here.
Ladies and gentlemen, time now for the current OTR total.
That's better. The current and final OTR totals, not bad tonight. 21 on page 1 for SWLs, 18 on page 2, 19 on page 3, and 20 1 on page 4 for a total of 79 radios tonight. We got 4. The Brownings, the most heard manufacturer, started off with the Cobra Cam 88. Always good to hear a little more signal, because it just reinforces the fact, yeah, it does sound good. Sounds good when it's in the noise. It sounds good when it's out of the noise. That is a feature, not a failure, of a decent radio that hasn't been over-modded or over-compressed or over-limited, and runs some proper tube amplification in the radio itself. It might get a little help from some RF amplification, but that is good. The Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB of the picture fame from Mr. Green Arrow with the original banana microphonium Radio 2, Radio 3. Good to hear, James, good to hear Crawdad on the Mark 9. I know back in the day, 40 years ago, the hybrids were new enough that we actually didn't officially check them in. But 40 years later, I think if it's vintage enough and there's tubes in there somewhere, and they're typically in the transmitter portion, that's the part we're hearing. It gets on the list. We're glad to have it around, and it's a part of, it's a great part of 11-meter history. So thanks for bringing that one by with the Delta M2 microphonium. And then moments ago, Sean out of Sangertown on the Browning Golden Eagle Mark IV, as he said, the last hurrah for Browning Laboratories. All right, thanks for joining us tonight. Sorry about the audio thing at the beginning, but believe me, when the device failed, I was almost certain that I wasn't going to be able to do the stream, because I needed to get a sound into the computer, into the Universal Media Network, and I happened to have another device. And the device, all the cabling and the connectors were reverse of what I had, so I had to go kind of scrounge around and find a couple of cables that fit. So there's cables dangling around here, but it worked. And then I forgot that you have to tell. See, the computer is only as smart as the operator. That's where I fail. The computer is only as smart as the guy sitting in front of it. I always hope that it's smarter than me, but it's not. So I had to tell the computer that says, you know, you keep looking over here, look over here. This is where the audio is. So thanks for the heads up on that. 73, everybody. Good luck on those of you who are studying for your tests, or are getting ready to take your test for the upgrade to the amateur frequency. And, you know, don't fret. You can always come back. You're not abandoning CB, right? You always come back. But there's just so much more. It's like going to the park. And you can only get to the front gate, but you can get into the whole park and go wherever you want. It's pretty cool. And so keep going. Get your general, your extra if you want to. It'll be fun, and I hope to talk to you. 73, everybody, from the Old Tube Radio Network. '73. All right. I'm going to swap. I'll stay on for another 5 minutes here on the stream. Turn that down. Let me check out some of the other frequencies. So another 5 minutes. What I have to do is go out and change the antenna. I'll be right back. Man, it makes it hard to get out of the chair with all these cables all over the place. Okay, we are now on the big antenna switch. And we're going to flop up to 10 meters. I don't think there's anything going on. Let's go to 20 meters. Hear that? Let me bring the audio up. That's the FT8 signals, the digital signals up at 14075 or thereabouts, meaning the band is still open on 20 meters. But I bet it's going to be tough to hear anybody on phone. Let's see.
20. Calling CQ20, CQ20.
There we go.
Calling CQ 20 meters from November 5, Whiskey Juliet, 10-5 WJ. Calling CQ20.
Big signal.
Hello, CQ, CQ, CQ. Calling CQ20, CQ20. Calling CQ20, CQ20. Calling CQ 20 meters from November 5, Whiskey Juliet.
That's Frank. In Louisiana. Signals are fading. And he picks up a station on the West Coast. We won't be able to hear that West Coast station, so. This is cycle 25. 7 years from now, you won't hear anybody on this band. But right now, because of the way the sunspot cycle is, it's a good deal. That's why it's a good time to get in and do the license. Kind of noisy, but that's good. Let's go down to 40 meters. Switch the antenna. Get off of AM. Switch the antenna down on 40. I think that's a foreign broadcast station. There's somebody either jamming or doing some type of a transmitter test, and they're very loud at 7193. Could it be a case of malicious interference on ham radio, or somebody just tuning up?
Steve was happy, and anyway, that life goes on. So anyway, get out of here. Sorry, I hogged the frequency.
7.147.
Questions about solar, but I've made some notes here, and I appreciate your input. Thanks again, Mike. K6MYC W6AV.
Ah.
Well, the quicker way to do this is to
Now this guy right here, K6MYC, his name is Mike. He's about 20 miles away. He's 20 miles away. Hear his voice? Sounds like he's talking through a vacuum cleaner hose. That is the way the conditions are on a lower frequency, on a higher band, lower frequency called backscatter. So I'm getting an echo effect between the ground wave and the sky wave. And he's probably running 1,500 watts at 20 miles away. But I'm hearing the guy he's talking to that's hundreds of miles away better. Totally bizarre, but that's the way it works. And Mike owns anybody familiar with M-squared antennas, the M2, the M-squared antennas, Mike, this guy talking right now, is the owner of that company. It's actually here in Fresno. And they're always talking tech stuff. This 40-meter frequency right now is 7.147, so this will be pretty much mid-West Coast specific. Mike is about 20 miles from me. I'm not sure where the other station was. It was quite strong, but my guess he's somewhere on the West Coast. But that's the anomaly of the lower frequency bands, where you're hearing skywave and ground waves simultaneously, and the guys that are 200 miles away sound way better than people that are 20 miles away. Let me see what else we got. Yeah, something's going on, 7193. Somebody's not happy over there. But that's it, there's not much happening. The band is long, not good for local communications. But if you've got a decent antenna, maybe a little power, you're going to be able to talk. I kind of wanted to hear where that other station's from, but Mike's taking an old buzzer transmission. So we'll probably never find out. Okay, one more minute here. We'll go over to 75 meters, the 38, which will be open here on the West Coast.
That's still a viable round in the varmint community. 22-250 is still a pretty good round.
Oh yeah, it's a monster round.
And we can usually hear both sides of the conversation here on these bands, not like 40 or not like 20 meters. But hear the distortion on that voice. That station might be 1,000 miles away, perhaps.
Something better. I almost heard the slip there.
Quick question. Which mic are you on again, there, Dave?
I'm on the AKG.
That's what I'm running. I'm running an AKG.
It's made in Austria. It's they use in broadcasting over there in Austria.
Yeah, the mic I demonstrated tonight is an AKG.
A broadcast station. It was.
And it is a broadcast microphone.
Mic on KECK-AM 1590. I think we were.
This is 3870, 3.870.
It sounds really good. I like it.
On the 75 meter band.
Switch over to my headset, Mike. I'll be right back. N7FG.
Okay, you're on the 320 right now, are you?
And 7. So some audio guys are doing some. That's another thing you do, high fidelity audio on sideband. I know it seems counterintuitive, but you can make 3 KC, 4 KC sound pretty good with microphones.
That's okay. That's okay. That's okay.
And other things. All right.
You're lucky.
3858. The band is pretty good tonight here on the West Coast. All right, little sample of what you can do, and all you need is a piece of wire for the antenna. 3936. A piece of wire connected to your coax.
Do that kind of stuff.
And it works. And you will not get a bill at the end of the month. I don't know how that works.
Last trip for this trailer with us. We want to get rid of it while we still can get some money for it. It's still in decent shape. It's not that old. A lot of these campgrounds, they have a 10-year.
And the nice thing about this is,
if it's older than 10 years,
were you to want to talk about your trailer
down the road to find the next one.
At 4 p.m. on 11 meters, no one would hear you. There'd be 400 other stations talking at the same time. So the nice thing about this is, if you want to have a conversation, you probably will be able to do it.
A little bit bigger.
I mean, a real conversation, like for a minute or two, for 5 minutes, for an hour.
A little bit bigger kitchen, a little more spread out. So, we'll see. Kilo 6 Hotel Delta Uniform.
Yeah, KK6HDU with KB6HDX.
Hey, KB6.
Delta Mike 13, Delta X-ray. And yeah, I
a couple of California stations doing it good. So 75 meters is great tonight. 73, everybody. Thanks for listening, and we will try this again next week sometime.
And he always outgrew them, and he sold them. And the one that he ended up buying at the end, the big one, the 32-footer that he wanted.
It was a 32-foot Itasca, Class C. But
that thing, it cost him less than what he could have sold one of his old VW vans for. He had so many of those old VW things that are worth $100,000 a pop now. So hindsight, you're like, wow, yeah, but he was always looking for something a little bit bigger, and he kept upgrading. He bought a Chevy van, and he outfitted that, and then he bought a Toyota minivan with a little Class C camper on it. Then he upgraded to the big. He just kept going bigger and bigger and bigger. You know what I mean? And he had a good time, dude. He had a good time.
Yeah, Roger. We don't want to get too crazy. I mean, the Super C achieve the same goal with pulling the trailer. Pulling the trailer is fun. You know, it's not a huge deal. I enjoy it. I get a kick out of it, and you know, I really like my